Eternal Thirst.
Part 11. When Darkness Takes Wings. After the battle in Duclia, the world changed forever. What had once been whispers in taverns and rumors on the road became undeniable truth. Vampires were real, and they no longer hid in shadows. Every town, every city, every crossroads became a place of fear. The air itself seemed heavier, as if carrying the cries of those who had already been taken. The secret orders of hunters, once small brotherhoods hidden in the forests, began to grow into great international alliances. Duclia had shown the world that this war was not a matter of one village or one valley. It was spreading across kingdoms like wildfire. From Toledo in the far west to Constantinople in the east, people forged pacts of survival. Caravans carried silver weapons instead of silk. Priests carved holy symbols into every doorway. Walls were raised, and bells were hung in towers to warn of attacks. Every kingdom feared the night, and yet the night kept coming. The hunters gave themselves names that sounded like thunder. The Swords of Dawn, the Order of the Burning Moon, the Shield of the Living. They gathered not just warriors, but blacksmiths, alchemists, priests, and spies. They studied every fragment of knowledge that might give them an edge: old scrolls, forbidden rituals, the secrets of witches. In every corner of Europe, from the streets of Laodicea to the old harbor of Ragusa, humanity was preparing for a war that had no end. But the vampires were not idle. They were clever. They knew that steel and silver could hurt their flesh, but fear was sharper than any blade. They began to infiltrate the thrones of men. In courts and palaces, whispers grew of mysterious advisors, beautiful strangers with pale skin and sharp eyes, whose words could bend kings. Some offered protection from their own kind in exchange for blood and loyalty. Others promised immortality, power, and the ability to rule forever. Slowly, human rulers began to bow, not to their god, but to their silent masters of the night. It was no longer just a war of blades. It was a war for the soul of mankind. Shain saw it clearer than anyone. She traveled from city to city, speaking not of vengeance, but of compassion. "Do not let hatred guide you," she told the frightened crowds. "A heart poisoned by revenge becomes no different from the monsters it fights." But few listened. To the hunters, she was a dangerous voice, too merciful for this dark age. To the vampires, she was a traitor, someone who betrayed her own kind. Alone, she carried the weight of two worlds, and both called her enemy. And then, among the vampires rose a new leader. He was the one who had slain Longbottom, the old elder, in Duclia. His name spread like a curse across the world. Vathar. Unlike others of his kind, he did not hide in shadows. He stood tall, his crimson eyes burning like torches in the dark. He called himself the King of the Damned. To the starving vampires, weary of hiding, his words were like fire. "We are not beasts in the forest. We are rulers. Let humans serve us as cattle. Let their kings kneel. Let their priests be broken. The night belongs to us." Under his command, the vampires grew bolder. They struck villages openly, burning them to ash. They turned noblemen into thralls and slaughtered peasants in fields. They built their own symbols, dark banners hung on ruined churches. And slowly, piece by piece, Vathar began to build an empire of blood. Shain watched the world descend into chaos. For years she fought not only against claws and fangs, but against despair. She saved as many as she could, protected wandering families, carried children across rivers, and stood in the path of darkness again and again. But her name became more and more cursed. Hunters whispered she was weak. Vampires spat that she was a traitor. And still she stood. Time passed. Days became months, months became years. The war turned the land into graves and ruins. But Shain never stopped. She carried within her a light that refused to die. And then came the night of the dream. It was in the mountains where the air was sharp and cold. Shain lay down to rest, but sleep carried her into a place that was not the world she knew. She walked through endless fog until, before her, rose a massive gate of black iron, tall as a fortress wall. The gate was carved with twisted faces, screaming in silence. A voice, deep and heavy as stone, called her name from beyond. Come closer, enter. Her heart shook, but her feet moved forward. And then she saw a shadow descending from the sky. At first it seemed like a bird, but it was far too large. Its wings stretched wide, black as a storm. As it landed, the ground cracked beneath its weight. It was no bird. It was a creature half man, half beast. Its body was human, but twisted, powerful, armored with feathers sharp as blades. Its wings spread wide, each feather glinting like obsidian. Its head was bald, the skin red and wrinkled, and from its face jutted a massive black beak, strong enough to pierce stone. Its eyes glowed with a fire of rage and hunger. Shain froze. The creature looked at her, and for a moment, through the monstrous form, she thought she saw a familiar shadow, a memory, a friend. It was Kareem, but Kareem no longer. After Ducklia, his heart had hardened. He could not forgive, could not let go of the hatred that grew inside him. He had found among Longbottom's belongings a torn piece of prophecy. Blood and light shall meet. Only one will save the world. He believed the words spoke of him, and in his pride, his pain twisted. Darkness seeped into his soul until it gave him form. He became this beast, half man, half vulture of death, convinced he was chosen to save the world by destroying all who stood in his way, even Shain. He spread his wings, and the wind howled like a scream. His voice, broken and deep, thundered through the air. Shain, you are the last chain. You are the last lie. The prophecy speaks of me, not you. He lunged. His beak, black and sharp as a sword, struck toward her chest. Shain raised her arms, light blooming from her palms, but the blow pierced through, tearing her strength away. Pain spread through her body as if the mountains themselves were crushing her. Her knees bent. The earth beneath her feet turned cold. She felt her power leaving, draining into the stones around her, as if the mountains themselves were swallowing her soul. The air grew heavy. Her breath became shallow. Kareem stood over her, wings wide, shadow covering her body. His eyes were not the eyes of a man. They were pits of rage, blind to mercy. His beak dripped with her blood, and he prepared to strike again, the final blow. Shain lifted her eyes, weak, trembling, but still filled with something he had long lost, compassion. And in that moment, though her body was breaking, she whispered words that cut deeper than any blade. Kareem, hatred has already killed you. Don't let it kill me too. The mountains held their breath. The darkness thickened, and the world waited for his choice.